Taoiseach, we've returned to our usual heavy traffic congestion after last week's mid-term break. Dublin has been ranked as the third worst city in the world out of a survey of 200 cities when it comes to the amount of time normal people spend in traffic. Dublin commuters are losing an average of nearly 5 hours every week sitting in traffic jams. There's a pressing need for a grand plan for public transport, and not least to address the issue of lowering our carbon emissions. The public accepts this, indeed, in my judgment, demands a better public transport system. But what I'm hearing is a great deal of public anxiety about the government's two major transport projects, Metrolink and Bus Connects. The government is spending €5 billion. Can we have confidence in the government's ability to deliver on these projects following the 100% overrun to date on the National Children's Hospital? And is the Department of Public Expenditure closely monitoring these projects? 123 years ago, Glasgow opened its first subway. We're still talking about building Dublin's first metro line. We had originally Dublin North Plan from Fingal to the city centre, and then we had the economic crash. Then we had Metrolink to link the metro with the existing Green Lewis line. But what has happened now, because that last project seems to have been scrapped, so I would ask the Taoiseach to give the House now clarity, and the people of Dublin, in fact the nation, clarity on that matter. The proposed metro line won't solve congestion problems for many Dubliners, which is where Bus Connects comes in, to rethink the entire bus system. But the Minister for Transport, Minister Ross, seems to have distanced himself from Bus Connects and handed over power to unelected officials. Those leading the public consultations seem to be involved in box ticking without, for many reports I'm getting, real concern for the anxieties of the people. At a public meeting yesterday, I'm told that Fine Gael TD Colin Brophy said that he had a lack of confidence in Bus Connect. The Minister of State, Catherine Byrne, I understand, called the National Transport Authority dictators. There seems to be more focus on the electoral prospects of Fine Gael TDs than on providing the vision of a high-quality public transport system. So, my questions: will the government provide for a full and complete debate in this House to fully test its vision for Dublin's future transport system? And can you guarantee to the House that the government's plan has been future-proofed to meet the transport needs of a city that we expect to expand greatly in the coming decades, which, as I say, is to be accommodated with a world-class transport system?
Thank you, Deputy. Taoiseach.
Thanks very much, Deputy. As you know, I represent a commuter constituency of West Dublin, and more so than most in this House, I'm very aware of the daily impact that congestion has on our constituents. Huge numbers of people from my constituency spending maybe 2 hours on the bus every day, 10 hours a week, time that could be spent with their families, engaged in recreation or sporting activities, maybe even taking up evening classes and further study. And one thing we really want to do over the next couple of years, as the city continues to expand, as it continues to grow, as we continue to increase our population and employment, is to improve and reduce commuting times for people who commute to work in the Dublin area. We have plans, detailed plans already, plans such as the National Transport Authority's Greater Dublin Transport Plan, running to 2030, and of course Project Ireland 2040. And we need to get on with those plans and implement them. And that's why I'm so concerned at suggestions from some members of the opposition that we should suspend Project Ireland 2040 and carry out a review of it, which I think would be an enormous mistake to actually delay these important plans and investments that we have in public transport. What can we do? First of all, implement Project Ireland 2040, ensure that the cities other than Dublin grow twice as fast as Dublin. Part of the solution to congestion in Dublin is Cork, Limerick, Waterford, Galway, other urban centres like Athlone, Sligo, Dundalk, Drogheda, growing twice as fast as Dublin, turning around a millennium of development in Ireland into a different direction, but that has to be part of the solution. The other is investment in in cycling facilities and pedestrian facilities, a lot of that underway already. You'll have seen many of the improvements around the city. Much more needs to be done in that regard. And investment in public transports, projects like Bus Connects, which I'm very committed to, notwithstanding the disruption it will cause for some. It will benefit the many in terms of reducing journey times perhaps by half in suburban Dublin, and also investment in rail. Again, a lot of it done already. Lewis and Lewis Cross City now up and running, criticised, opposed by many, and yeah, it did overrun, not Cross City, but the early elements did. But I doubt anyone regrets that Lewis is built now, and indeed there are demands every day for new lines. The Phoenix Park Tunnel is open, connecting the Kildare commuter routes better to the city centre, and of course Metro is now out for design. But the truth is, we have to, and it's right to engage with the public on design to get it right. And that's happening now at Bus Connects, and it's happening now at Metro. And people do have genuine concerns because it does disrupt their sports clubs, can disrupt their schools, can involve taking away their parking, can involve taking away parts of their gardens. And we shouldn't dismiss genuine concerns by communities, whether it's Nafina GA Club, whether it's people in Ranelagh, whether it's people out in Terranure. We shouldn't dismiss their concerns. You know, we're not a dictatorship. This isn't the Soviet Union, and it's not the 19th century in Glasgow. We don't just run roughshod over people and communities.
Thank you,
so the right thing to do. So the right thing to do is is to listen to people's concerns, take into account what communities have to say, amend the plans as appropriately, and then go ahead and get them done.
Deputy Howlin.
Delighted with the Taoiseach's empathy for their difficulties. The two projects that you instance as successes were done by the previous government, the Cross City and the Phoenix Park tunnel, as you recall. The two projects that you are responsible for as Taoiseach are the ones I've asked you about. Metro, where stands Metro now? Is the original? Is it the modified? What's happening with it? We seem to be always planning, but never actually delivering. And in terms of Bus Connect, it's lovely that you are interested and you're not a Soviet dictatorship. What does that mean, Taoiseach? Are we going to have a decent plan? Or is, as many people are really concerned now from listening to your representatives going to public meetings up and down the city, is that all of this is talk. At the end of the day, because there's political pushback, nothing will be delivered. What is the status of Bus Connects, and what exactly is your plan for Metro?
Thanks very much, Deputy. I was a member of the last government, as you'll recall, and for 3.5 years of that was the Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sport, and we delivered on a lot of projects, including the Phoenix Park Tunnel and Lewis Extension to City West and Lewis Cross City, and indeed other projects around the country as well, such as the N11 and Gort Tuam. So in terms of what we're delivering under this government, it is of course Bus Connects and Metro. But these are very big projects. You know, Bus Connects, and Bus Connects isn't just for Dublin, it's for other cities as well, let's not forget, is a €2 billion investment in buses and cycling facilities. And people often forget that aspect of it. It's hugely beneficial for cyclists as well. And Metro, it's impossible to cost it at this stage for certain. But Metro, again, a multi-billion euro investment in public transport from the North County through to the city centre. But these do involve public consultation, and that is the stage that we're at now when it comes to Bus Connects and Metro. Public consultation is underway. The NTA is listening, and they will come back with revised plans. When they come back with revised plans, we'll be able to apply for railway orders, apply for planning permission, then put them out to tender, then get a realistic final cost. And it's only when you go out to tender you know the real cost, and then make a final decision on whether we proceed. Deputy